Firstly, I did like the structure of the movie. I think the idea that you had to have this Neo be shown as a blue pill guy, you know, was a pretty good thing, and he was trapped inside a new matrix which has some different features and different set of rules. There's a new thing called a modal, which is basically used for evolving programs. That's something that was very interesting to me, right? So I think the use of these new features and stuff was really interesting to me. But when I was watching the Neo being a game creator who created the original trilogy, as you know, the one of the most popular games in the world, and he was famous, I was thinking maybe Lana is just retconning the old movies, to reboot this and stuff, because I was believing that. And that was very well done because that had that effect on me, right? It's supposed to feel real. So that they did that very well. And half
Yep.
and the way Neo was having these episodes which was supposed to be his memories from the past and stuff, um actually told us, it kind of fucked with my mind, saying, oh, maybe those weren't really happening. The original trilogy, I mean. Maybe he actually is a game developer and this was all that we saw in those movies, and now we're just seeing the real, Thomas Anderson. So
Yeah.
that kind of fucked with my mind as well. And half of the movie, I didn't know what was happening. And then when the reveal came, well, not half of the movie, but until when it went on. Um, and then when it ended, I was like, oh, so this is a blue pill Neo trapped inside a matrix created for him, to keep him there so that, he stays there as a successful game developer who created the original Matrix, right? And that was a pretty brilliant thing to do for Lana because that this is not a real world, so she can do whatever she wants with them, and she chose to just have this meta aspect to it where he, they are actually inside her world, Lana's world, like, because WB is wanting her to make a reboot, or a sequel, and she came back to do it, and she's the one who actually made the original trilogy. So it's kind of like the Neo inside that blue pill world was Lana, and I
Yeah.
I really liked
Even
that.
even Warner Brothers is name dropped. That's kind of what
Yes,
the meta bit is.
there
Because
were
the first
critics.
25, 30
People
minutes,
are complaining.
yeah,
First movie was good, but
yeah,
second and third weren't good. They also name dropped the theories, some of the fan theories that, oh, the
yeah,
Matrix is obviously about transgenderism and all that. And then someone else said something else, and Neo was
yeah.
there the whole time just listening.
You know what was crazy as well? I should talk about it in a second, but like he names dropped Warner Brothers, and look, the studio wants you to make a fourth movie
Yeah,
or a fourth game, and he doesn't want to. Like Lana Wachowski, she pressured in to make a fourth Matrix movie.
yeah,
Like it's so meta, and like when they talk about the meta and the reviews, like this was only 25, 30 minutes of the film. It was really meta, but then after that, you get over that part, and Neo realizes that he's trapped inside
yeah,
the Matrix, and it's all real. Well, Matrix is fake, but you know, the original trilogy was real. Then you get into the story and stuff like that.
yeah.
But I loved. Did you like the analyst?
Oh yeah, I loved the analyst, and I loved how he was also involved, monitoring him, keeping him there, and he want
Feeds off the
yeah,
he feeds off kind of Neo's depression.
yeah, feeds off Neo as well as Trinity, and I really liked that. Also, I liked his powers inside this matrix because obviously he created it, and he also mentions his predecessor, which he could be referring to the architect. As this is a new matrix, he's in charge here, so they did bullet time, and he could just move faster than everyone else. Neo was slow, Trinity was slow, and I loved that feature as well. But before we jump onto that, I also there was also a line that said, uh, that the Agent Smith character says to Thomas that they want to make a new game, and they want to make a sequel, and they will do it with or without you, right? So that's probably also what WB told Lana. Like, we're good, we're definitely gonna
Yeah.
make a new movie with or without you. And Lana probably said, okay, fine, I'll do it. You know?
Did you really look the first trailer, the White Rabbit trailer, which was masterpiece of a trailer.
Yeah.
That's a scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, not shot for shot, but that's a scene in the movie following Neo in the Matrix, when Anderson in the Matrix, the press that the world he's living in,
Mm-hmm.
and even the shots of Alice, which it showed Sadie, grown
Mm-hmm.
up, was not her. Yeah, her. Stuff like that. Like that was pretty cool. The trailer was actually kind of in the movie with the full song being played, and Neo kind of, or Anderson in the room with the writers figuring out what the game will be for the fourth one. And that's what I'm talking about in terms of you would expect to go back and use certain scenes from the original trilogy, like bullet time, like the
Right.
slow mo kick and stuff like that, in the fourth movie. Just to get fans. Oh my god, yeah, I remember that from the second one
Yeah.
or the third one. But they didn't do that at all in the movie.
Yeah. I thought there would
They
be a
acknowledged
highway
that.
scene with Trinity.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you
but
said,
they,
though, they could
they
have done
acknowledged.
that. Nostalgia thing. They could have recreated stuff from the older movies. They even mentioned that. They know that we love that. They even mentioned that. And Lana could have still done that. People would have probably loved it more. But that's not what she does. She wants to make a movie that says something, and she did. So I really appreciate that they didn't just do the, oh, look, we're the Matrix movie, and look, this scene that we loved, we recreated it, and stuff like that, right? Although the movie
Yeah,
does start that way. That was very good.
yeah, it catches you off because you think that, oh, are we going to be watching the original Matrix from a different
Yeah.
perspective? That's how the story kind of carries throughout the film, but it wasn't that at
Yeah.
all. And Jessica Henwick is us. We're fanboying out,
Yeah.
rewatching the original film in the fourth film.
Yeah.
I was kind of fanboying out. I was like, oh, that's Trinity. She's going to do the kick now. Then she doesn't do the kick. It's a different version of
Yeah.
it. And I'm like, oh, okay. But like, then she kind of gets captured on the top of the
Yeah.
building by the agents. And then the Morpheus character, like, or not Morpheus, the other kind of
He was Smith.
the tech guy. But yeah, he was like, but that's not how it happened. Like, and I'm like that as well. Like, that's
Oh,
not what
okay,
happened.
that
What
one.
are they
Yeah.
doing to the original
Yeah.
Matrix?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff like that. So, um,
Yeah, I really
yeah, it
like
was like,
that they didn't just recreate the older scenes, and they actually made a sequel, a proper sequel with a new story. And I really like that because, like I said, I always like when things are moving forward, and this was a step forward. So I liked it. And Brian says, I want a series based around the machine civil war now. I completely agree with you, man. That was a whole thing that they just touched upon, and they didn't even elaborate on that or show anything. It was very quick, and yes, I would be very interested in that. Something that fleshes out the events after Neo saved Zion. Yes, that all felt a bit rushed. Yes, I agree. And what happened to Zion was also beautiful and interesting because um, a lot of those people are dead. But it's funny when Neo says that I did so much, and then there was it meant nothing, and then Niobe says, no, it did mean something. There was peace for so many years, because at the end of the Matrix revolutions, Neo sacrifices himself so that there's peace between the these humans,
man and
yeah,
machine.
the man and machine. So there was peace between those two, and we never knew that if it actually happened. after that movie. But now we know there actually were years of that, and even in this movie, we see that there's a new city created out of Zion, which is Io, which is also really a funny name because Io just is input output from computers, and it's also the middle two letters of Zion. It's a pretty cool name.
Yeah, yeah, and then like at the end of the original trilogy, like it was the architect said that they would give choice to people
Yes.
whether they want to be in the real world or in the Matrix. We get to find out in this new Matrix, people prefer being in the Matrix,
Yeah.
and but like at the end of the movie, you would expect Trinity or you would expect Neo to say, "We're going to stop you. We're going to get people out of this world," but they didn't.
Yeah.
They just said, "We're going to make this world better than what you could make it." Which just in kind of like it doesn't get you motivated for the next movie. Like the movie just ends kind of prematurely like that. Like would have been cooler if you said a badass line there and said, "Look, I'm going to stop you," and then you go into the next one. But no, it, it defeats the purpose of what like a sequel is really. And Lana was like, "No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do what you expect me to do. I'm not going to do what you want me to do. I'm not going to just make this movie for the sake of set up another movie, or for the sake of you getting the feeling you had when you watched the first and second one."
Right.
It was a very ballsy choice.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that. And as of right now, the reviews for Matrix is mostly positive. It's still, I think, in the 70s, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, most people are liking it, but there are a lot of people that are not liking it. So it's definitely kind of mixed, which is definitely a signature thing for the Matrix movies. Right after the first one, even the first one, people didn't understand when the movie released, but later on they liked it. But second and third, some people still kind of hate those movies, which I don't understand because those all three movies are essential and one singular arc for Neo, I believe. It's one story. It keeps going, and it ends in the third movie, and I
You
really
know,
like that.
and his main criticism is the real world scenes in the original trilogy,
Yeah.
and I find that so fascinating because you rather be in the Matrix. You'd rather like it's very that's very meta. Like you're like,
Yep.
I want to watch the Matrix. I want to be in the Matrix. I want to stay in the Matrix with Neo and Trinity, where they have powers and stuff like that. You're and you're doing what the movie is about.
Yeah.
But whether you want to be in the Matrix or you want to be in the real world, everybody, well, not everybody, but most people just criticize the real world scenes. Wanted to be back in the Matrix. I don't mind the real world scenes. I liked it, especially in the last movie, the kind of big war that was going on. But this time around, I actually didn't mind. I liked learning more about what happened. 60 years has passed as well. And the
Mm-hmm.
machines were keeping Trinity and Neo alive, and not didn't age as much as Niobe did.
Yeah.
We aged pretty 60 years. And yeah, Brian was saying they should have expanded more or want to see more about the war with the machines.
Definitely.
And that's what I'm talking about. If number 5 is made, we'll see more of that eventually.
Yeah.
We'll see more about what happened to Morpheus, which we didn't. There was like little story beats like that. That if you watch the original trilogy, that happens in the first one as well, with different aspects. In the second
Yep.
one, like it all ties together with 3 movies. And this one will be the exact same. That's why I hope the next another one gets made. But will it do enough financially and stuff? And will Warner Brothers look at this movie and say, "Bring her back. What's she going to do with the next one?" Because here, like, look what she did. Uh, I don't know if they would or if they could. Would they get another director in? I wouldn't be so. I wouldn't be as interested maybe as
Yeah.
if they got somebody else in. But then again, Denis Villeneuve came in and did Blade Runner 2049. That was fantastic. But then again,
Yeah.
that's not like that's not like a deep meta psychological film as such. It's sci-fi. It's kind of noir. So
I
I
don't
don't I
know,
like the
man.
themes that
I don't know if I would.
Donna brings in.
I don't know if I would open to be.
I don't I don't either. But I would be intrigued to see Lily come back to direct the
Yes.
next one. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. And Lana steps down, and then for the last one they come back together. I wouldn't be surprised. Like that could have been pre-planned between the two of them as well.
Yeah.
We just don't know because these. I think they're a little bit. They're very.
We don't use that word here.
Are they? No, I was going to say. Are they geniuses? Because
Yes.
some of the stuff that they're able to incorporate is just is crazy. I'll say the word is crazy. Um, like yeah, I really liked the story, and I can't wait to go back and explore it. I didn't get everything my first viewing, um, but I would have liked to see more of Jonathan Groff
Yes, he was
as
so good.
A- Agent Smith. He didn't
And
have
he was
much to
also a
do. I was
fan
actually
of
a bit
the
surprised.
original Agent Smith.
Can- Yeah, can I ask you? So Neo is in the Matrix and Trinity's in the Matrix, but they don't know about their past life, of course.
Yes.
And I remember I was talking to you before with this. There's a comic called the Get It comic where the Matrix puts the Matrix into the Matrix. So people who are in the Matrix go to the theater, they watch Matrix. I think it was 5 or something like that, and people come out of it thinking like, "Oh, that was a cool movie." But when the Matrix exists in your world, you're not going to be thinking that you're in a simulation. You have
Exactly.
those thoughts. You have them because you played the game in this situation, or you've watched the movie.
Almost
That's
like
what
our
the
world now.
yes. But the analyst, that's what the analyst wanted. He didn't want people to realize they were in a simulation, so he put
Hmm.
the game, 3 games into it, which was the original movie, and that's why Neo thought that's why he has these feelings because he thought of a game and he made the games.
Yeah.
But so his boss was Jonathan Gruff's character. So did the analyst take? Was he taking the brainwaves, or not the brainwaves? Was he taking energy from Agent Smith? And did Agent Smith know he was in the Matrix, or did he just kind of get the deja vu when he saw the gun in the ground and he saw Neo there? Is that when he came back into life as Agent Smith,
I think agents.
or did he know all along?
Yeah, I think he knew. I think he knew because even from the original trilogy, he was learning more and more, and having conversations with Morpheus, and he obviously from the first movie itself, he knew that he was inside the Matrix because he he tells Morpheus, he tells I hate the stench I hate the smell of you guys here, and I can't smell it, but I know it sucks and all that stuff, right?
So
So he knows that
he
he's in
he
the
basically
Matrix.
he basically wanted to kill his creator. He wanted to
Yes.
kill the analyst because he made him.
Yeah.
Either he made him be this way, or he made him be in the Matrix. Is that what his intention was? Because when we get to see, so Neo makes a deal with not the architect, the
Analyst. Yeah.
analyst, saying, "Look, you want me back in the Matrix because you feed off my energy, negative energy to what was he doing that for again? He was using Neo's negative energy, his depression. Was it to power that Matrix or to keep everyone else in you remember why he was doing that?
He was using Neo and Trinity. Those two were key to keeping his new Matrix running. And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So Neo says, "Okay, let me ask Trinity if she wants to come to the real world with me, if she wants to escape. If she says yes, then you let us leave. But if she says no, she doesn't want, she wants to stay here in her false reality, then I'll go back. I'll go back into my life in the Matrix, and you can use it." And then, of course, the analyst is never going to keep up his end of the deal. But of course, Trinity wants to fight with Neo, and then Agent Smith just comes out of nowhere and he helps Neo, and he doesn't even call him Mr. Anderson. He goes, "Is it Tom?" He calls
Yeah.
him Tom. That was funny, but there's a
You
very
know how
powerful line that kind of
he
had
came?
me thinking.
It's the
No,
same thing that happened in the third Matrix movie. And it's the same thing that happens in a lot of movies. It's called the Deus Ex Machina, right? When the hero is losing at the end of a movie, and suddenly a different character or a different force comes in to save the hero, right? That's a trope
yeah.
in movies. That's also what happened in Matrix Revolutions, and that's something that also happened in this movie. Literally, he
Mm.
became the Deus Ex Machina, and he runs the company called Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, yeah. It was.
And
I love. I'm going to jump back now, but I loved when Morpheus is trying to convert
yeah,
Neo and to give him the blue pill or the red pill,
comes
and
out of the
like
bathroom.
bring him back and to show him everything, and Neo's like, no, 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 this isn't
Yeah,
real. I'm making this up. He thinks he's crazy. He tried to kill himself in the
Yeah.
Matrix, and he thinks he's crazy. He goes to a therapist, which is the analyst, and so like, I'm making this up. It's all in my head because he thinks the Matrix games that he made, he once thought that they were. He actually lived those. That
That's
was real.
exactly a
And then
very brilliant thing that you mentioned.
yeah,
Because if you have the Matrix inside that Matrix as a creation, especially by you created those games, then you won't think that, oh, maybe this is real, right? Because it literally exists right in front of you as a game. And that's
yeah,
basically our real world too, right? In our world, the Matrix movies exist, but that leads us to question our reality. Like, are we living in a simulation, right? So I think that was very brilliant of them to incorporate in the movie, and they did very good. But
yeah,
yeah, I love that, and I did like the. Okay, so for the Zion stuff, I think a lot of people hate the Zion stuff from the older movies, right? And um I can understand that people find that boring or dull or stuff like that, but that's the point of those scenes. Like, I'm not even, loving those scenes, and I'm not crazy about those scenes either, but that's the point. You're not supposed to, because this is a post-apocalyptic world, where machines took over. And obviously you aren't supposed to love that world. That's why it's always so dull. That's why it's always so, dark and gray, and there's clouds and rain all the time and stuff like that. And you have dull clothing, blue color grading, which makes you feel like you're in a very boring and dull setting. And all of that is on purpose. You're supposed to feel very dull there. But in that, there's a group of people called Zion who are a symbol of hope that there will be, surviving. So that's supposed to be the point. Um, but now we don't have Zion anymore. We have Io, which is a combination of man and machine. So those two people are working together now, and that's why Io is a little bit more beautiful than Zion was. So I thought that was also very
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. I love the new kind of artificial
Oh,
environment
and
that the new
they
Matrix
they
has.
they ate strawberries. You
Yes,
you
there was a
remember
growth,
that thing from the comic you
they're
showed
growing food.
about them not having bread and
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah, yeah. So yeah, and Niobe is kind of afraid to help Neo in case it jeopardizes what she's helped build there, which is fair enough as well. But like, it'll be interesting to see if we go back to the future movies how that develops. And I do predict we could get a war between man and man, humanity and humanity. If we've seen a war between the machines, now we also see machines working with the humans. I have a theory that we could see humans and machines versus humans and machines by the third movie for some reason. I don't know why. And I just have a feeling that's the way they're going. But I also loved John Gruff's last line before he left the film. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was like, the different there's been a difference or between
Oh
me and
yes,
you.
that was a great
But
line.
the diff there what's not he said there's always been a difference between me and you, or the difference between me and you and Neo is that anybody could have been you. Is that what he says?
Yeah, he says the
And
difference between you and me is that
there
anybody
you
can
go.
be you, but
Yeah,
I can be anyone. And he just
yeah.
transforms into that
That was
guy whose body he took. It's
that
so
was so
great.
good. And that line kept me thinking after.
Yeah, that was so good. And also, I didn't realize this um, before this movie, but in this movie, they point out that the two most impactful people outside of Trinity, of course, the two most impactful people on making Neo who he is, are Morpheus and Agent Smith. Both are hero and villain, but both of them played a part in making Neo who he was. So that was an interesting thing that they explored in this movie.
Yeah, and Morpheus is kind of he's an agent in this Matrix,
Yeah.
and he becomes self-aware like Agent Smith did
Mm-hmm.
in the original trilogy, but this time he doesn't become evil. and he uses it for good.
Mm-hmm.
And he helps kind of Bugs, and he helps Neo as well. And I liked how they have a new technology where uh, code or whatever
Yeah.
can come into the real world through this kind of device they use. That was cool. I like that.
Yeah.
That was pretty awesome. There's something else as well that they had. I forget what it was. Oh, I forget what. I loved how actually Morpheus was in the White Room. I'm not great with all the
Yes.
terms and stuff. He's in the White Room, and that's kind
The
of where
construct.
the construct is kind of like the middle place between Matrix and the real world.
Yeah.
He's just in there chilling, watching the original Matrix
Yeah.
or watching the games or whatever. But yeah, that was good. But like he wasn't. Kind of Jonathan Gruff was great, and yeah, Abdul Mateen was great. You can't replace Lawrence Fishburne or Hugo Weaving,
Yeah. And he was
and
in the movie
I don't know.
as a statue.
Yeah, as a statue, and so was Hugo Weaving. He was in Jonathan Gruff's
Yes.
office. The scene from Revolutions where he gets punched in the face, the slow mo scene that's
Yeah.
in the back in the statue. Uh, I do think it's a bit of a mistake not to bring them back, but then of course you would expect them to come back, the legacy characters to come
Yeah.
back for the fourth movie, and that's what
I
everyone would
actually
want. But
thought
a
we
lot of
would
us were
see
doing
them
that.
for a scene or so.
Yeah, yeah, but I wonder can she bring them back? Maybe I don't know. Probably not. 60 years later. Well, Agent Smith can
Yeah,
always come
Agent
back
Smith can
because
definitely come back, but I don't know if
he's
Morpheus is
cold.
alive or dead. I don't think I
He
picked
left it
up
so
on that
open.
in the movie.
Well,
60 years have
in
passed
the
though.
games, the games are supposedly canon, but they
Yeah,
were
he died in the
before.
game, right?
Yeah, they were before. Maybe they've changed their minds, the Wachowskis, but they always said that the Matrix game was canon. And he died in that game, so that could be. And I wouldn't be surprised if they keep it canon.
Mm.
You know, like, that's kind of funny how Matrix 4 was about Neo creating
But
Anderson creating a
also,
game
Neo and Trinity
and more.
died.
Yeah, true.
So,
They actually made up a good story for how they came back.
yeah.
Of, but the statue with Morpheus with his hands like that as well. I wonder what that's about. Did you notice that?
Morpheus' hand?
Hands is a statue like that.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a backstory to that. Maybe they can explore that in a flashback or something in the future. But I really, really hope there is more to the Matrix, man. I mean, a new movie, a series, I would take anything at this point. And I do like the new characters. I thought Bugs was really great. She was kind of the lead in the movie, apart from, Keanu. She did very well, I think.
Yeah, she was very likable on
Yeah,
screen and like innocence to her, and she was kind of like she was basically the audience.
yeah,
She was blown away by everything and meeting Neo, and also something about this film as well. We find out that Neo isn't really the one. He it, it, it I'm not great with all the terminology and all the words and stuff like that, but how the Matrix was created in the first one kind of made him the one in that reality. This time, the things that happened in this new Matrix, it's made kind of Trinity, not the one, but very powerful. Whatever, like a defect, like an experiment being done on Neo in the first one, Trinity this time. That's why they have these powers. And yeah, and if there's very Superman, Zack Snyder's Superman,
yeah.
the capes and the flying, and
There's also one scene where
nope,
Neo tried to fly. Oh, and I forgot to
that
mention
was funny.
the bots. So there's also a new thing in this movie called bots, which they can create any of the, I don't remember this being in the older movies, but they're like zombies now. And that scene where Trinity takes Neo on a ride, and the analyst creates new bots from the buildings, and they're falling to the ground. Oh my god, that was so freaky.
Oh yeah, instead of agents, it's just like the
People are falling to the
the
ground
metric.
and dying just to stop the.
I'm surprised that's not like a controversial thing about the movie.
I think it will
Innocent.
be. I haven't heard anyone
About
mention that
just
though.
people. yeah, people are very bitchy about stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's people just basically committing suicide,
Yeah.
jumping out windows, thousands of people, and yeah, that was something else. It was like, yeah, I love. I hope Keanu Reeves keeps the long hair for the future
That
movies.
is
He just
also
looks
so
badass
meta
in the
because
shades.
he is like that in real life.
Yeah, it's been yeah, it's him, like him, and
I
yeah,
wonder if in
there's
the
so
next
much.
movie he will be shooting John Wick in A Matrix.
You wouldn't put it past
That would be really
Donna at
cool.
all. Yeah, I also wonder what the Merovingian was only in it for like 5 seconds.
Yeah, I thought he would have a bigger role.
I mean, but see, if you go back to the Matrix 2, same thing happened. He was only in it for a small scene, a few minutes, and then you get to see him in the next one again. Like you go back to these characters, and you're like, I think we would have seen something like that. In the
Yeah,
next Matrix, we'll see him again, and probably in the third one, like you get to see more of his story and background to where he is. You probably get to see his wife wherever she is. Um, yeah, that's the type of storyline telling that they do. They just give you a little bit of the information, and then you go into the next movie.
yeah,
The next movie has to happen. There's
yeah, man.
so much
I
questions.
really, really want it to happen.
Um,
I don't care if the
uh,
movie flops or doesn't do well on HBO Max. I literally don't care. I just want it to happen. How can you not make another Matrix movie in this world? You know?
yeah, Brian put it in better words than what I was saying. The agents took over the humans, but now they just turned the humans into
Yes. Yeah.
the swarm. Yeah, that was cool. I like that addition. There wasn't too many agents in this at the start. There is, and then it's just kind of the humans,
Yeah.
like zombies, robots, whatever it is. That was cool. But yeah, I think they don't release official numbers, but like I think if they wanted to spin it to the Suicide or they did it with the Suicide Squad, they did with like Mortal Kombat and stuff like that. Movies that didn't do that well at the box office,
Mm-hmm.
like they were huge HBO Max
And
hits.
Dune.
I hope they and Dune, like I hope they well Dune made a good bit of money at the box office
Yeah,
as
true.
well. But like I hope they say that the Matrix was a big hit. Because for one, they're trying to save their own ass by putting the movies in day and date, justify that kind of decision. So I hope that happens. If the Matrix doesn't do well, I hope that like it does well. You know,
Yeah.
kind of way. So they have to make a
It's
fifth one.
crazy that
But
there's it if this is the end, it would be very, very crazy because how do you not continue how do you not milk the Matrix franchise and the Harry Potter franchise? Like you have to make more.
well, to me, this is a 2.5 hour movie that sets up a new trilogy,
Yeah.
and also maybe spin-offs if you want to really go full out milking it. You can do spin-offs as well. There's so much to cover: the machines, the war with the
I'll take
machines, having
animated
the
too if you
Morpheus.
want.
The Morpheus could be a HBO Max series with Lawrence Fishburne. Like that could be unless it's part of the movie plans. I don't know. You could get Jesse Hemmick having a movie or series. So much to do. So much to do.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see. I was a little bit disappointed how it took until the last few minutes for Trinity to get her powers and for her and Neo to be fully powerful in the Matrix.
Yeah.
We never really got an awesome action scene with the two of them like that.
Yeah.
I go back to Revolutions, Agent Smith and Neo at the end in the rain, the fight in the rain. That's fantastic
I
just to
actually
watch
thought that we were
visually.
getting that scene or a scene like that.
I would, yeah, was no really villain in this one. I know the Analyst was a villain, like he's kind of like a Lex Luthor type villain,
Yeah.
pulling the strings behind the scenes. But I would have liked a villain. Like I think that's where Hugo Weaving's presence was usually missing in the movie for me because of the presence he brings on screen, his line delivery, the relationship, the chemistry with Keanu Reeves and Neo, that kind of fight that was going on, Mr. Anderson, stuff like that was just hard to replicate that. But I think the film it definitely needed a villain,
Yeah.
and hopefully they make one for the second one and stuff like that. But another aspect, I love them little two machines turning on their own kind
Yeah.
to help bring Neo out from the chambers. That was
Yeah. And sorry, Brian, I missed up on your comments here. Brian says, "How about that tech to allow programs to exist in the real world? Zack Snyder is a blueprint or what?" Listen, man, I won't.
oh
I
the apocalypse.
yeah, I won't say that he is the blueprint for the Wachowskis because they are the blueprint for him. But I would definitely say that he probably ruined their career by doing what he did, and now they have nothing left to do. you know?
And did you not hear the line drop, the time loop line drop?
Yeah,
Did you hear that?
yeah.
I'm like, come on, time loops.
Dude, Zach did everything in his movies that there's literally nothing left for the Wachowskis to do. He did
Every
everything.
time there's like this, because I probably would have seen Matrix when I was younger, but I never really like looked at that movie and said, "Oh, there's slow motion." So it wasn't until like maybe Zack Snyder's movies I looked at movies and said, "Oh, there's slow
Yeah,
motion." Every time I see the slow motion in the Matrix, I think of Zack
yeah.
Snyder. You know, there was one slow motion scene. Hard to remember now, but it was really slow, and it just reminded me of Zack Snyder's movie.
Yeah. Brian also says there's people out there who weren't happy it didn't have the same kind of action sequences. Yeah, man. Fuck those people.
That's the point. That's the point, though.
Just kidding. There's
That's a that,
Go ahead.
no. I'm saying like that's what the point of the film
Yeah.
was not to be that. Everyone expected it.
Yeah, and they had a good bit of action. Kung
Yeah,
fu
that was good. Yeah,
action. There was a subway fight scene. It was all of it. But they just didn't
I,
have the whole 360 camera thing or
yeah.
jumping off buildings and fighting
One,
things, all of that.
yeah. I really wanted a one shot kind of kung fu and combat scene with Neo and somebody like he had in the original trilogy. Like we just like stopping punches and he's fighting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Never really got one like that. With one, I love one shot sequences, and I'm surprised as well because I think if you have this movie and you have like the Chad Sadowski, is it or Chad? What's his name?
Chad Stahelski.
Was the John Wick movies? Yeah, if he was doing the action for this, I think
You
would
know
have
what I thought
really
today?
helped.
His
Uh,
John Wick 4 got postponed, right?
yeah,
Matrix 4 came out today.
yeah.
His
Like,
movie got postponed for like 1 year. He's free.
and it was supposed to come out in March.
Yes. He's free now.
I but do you think that
I
they'll move
hope.
forward with another Matrix movie?
I
The script is
hope.
already done for Matrix 5.
Yep. I hope they do that because look, getting him back and putting together the old team back, getting Bill Pope back, also getting Lily Wachowski back, they could make something really great, man. And I hope they do it sooner.
He would have been prepping John Wick 4 when the Matrix was shooting.
Yes.
Probably why he couldn't do it because Keanu Reeves shot Matrix and John Wick back to back. So that's probably why he's director as well, isn't he, of John Wick?
Yes.
Yeah, that's probably why he was too busy. So, like, I would love them to get the team back together, him to come back and do the action because I think this
Absolutely.
film has good action. But if they want to take it if he was involved with the action team for this, I think they would have taken it to the next level where it would have been maybe not as influential or like, oh my god, as the first one, but it would have been a lot better. He's the king of action right now
Yeah.
for me in Hollywood, or American Hollywood. Yeah, so I think the action was good, but just could have been a lot better and maybe more of it as well. But I like the psychological themes in it and the deeper thinking and lines and just go back and watch it again. I like that stuff. It doesn't always have to be non-stop popcorn driven action.
Yeah. Yeah. So overall, I did really enjoy the movie, and I'm definitely going to watch it again. It's on HBO Max now. So I'll be watching it again, and this time I will watch the post-credit scene because I missed it in the theater. I didn't know there was one.
Oh yeah, it actually makes a joke of Marvel and DC.
Oh, really? Like
Well, no, it doesn't name drop them, but like what's the purpose of a post credit scene for Marvel or DC?
to set up something in the future?
Yeah, this 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 film has a post credit scene not to set up anything for the future.
Okay.
It's just
Nice.
take the swipe at all the and you know it was at the very end of the credits as well, like for when the last
So there are two.
scroll credits. No, the entire credits run, you wait 10 minutes and then the scene plays.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely going to check it out again. And yeah, I really enjoyed the movie. And to me, there has never been any bad Matrix movie. So I would definitely recommend this one. Some people might enjoy this more than the second and third movie. And if you liked the first movie at least, I would definitely say watch this because there's a lot of tribute paid to the original movie as well. And um, it's relatively easy to understand this movie, so you can just watch it at a surface level as well, and enjoy it. But if you dig deeper, there's a lot of stuff to uncover as well. So I love that. All right, so
Yeah, uh, definitely if you can watch it in theaters, watch it. But I know a lot of
oh
people
yeah,
watch it on HBO Max because it's convenient and stuff like that. But I think there's really nice shots of watching it in a theater, and I really like the real world shots. Some of the shots are probably better than the. I was watching the original trilogy the last few days, and like 2003, like when the last one came out, visual effects are fantastic, especially all the robots and the machines and stuff.
mm-hmm.
The fighting looks flawless, and same now again. But yeah, everyone, I think they all did a fantastic job, and hopefully now it makes money at box office and it does well streaming wise. Hopefully, warrant a sequel
Yeah,
if they want to make one.
yeah.